her 2 children were tested on by Arkansas Children's Hospital, the child at risk team. They billed Medicaid $143,000 to run medical tests on these 2 babies that required no medical treatment. Okay? One of them they gave Captor, which was an anti-seizure medicine, because there was a nurse saw the arm twitch when they were inserting the catheter. That's the closest thing to medical treatment, yet the state spent $143,000 gathering evidence to take her children away and convict her for class Y felony.
Yeah.
So in that case, I was pro bono for 2 years. They scraped up enough money, the family did, to hire a criminal attorney, and they paid him about 10% of what he should have been paid, right? So we asked the judge, give us money for an expert witness. They've got Children's Hospital over there with Rachel Klingenpeel and Dr. Rook and Dr. Wright, as experts. We found a pro bono guy out of Michigan, bought him a plane ticket. Her family used miles or something to get a room. I mean, literally, we had to think about how to do this. He was coming on a plane to come down here for nothing, he testified. The Friday night before the trial that was going to start, we had a 3-day jury trial, said it was supposed to start on Tuesday. The state said, oh, well, Dr. Klingenpeel is teaching at this important, she's giving a class at this important child abuse seminar in Missouri. It was an hour and 15-minute presentation on bruises, and there were 4 other classes going on at the same time. So we said, no, the judge would not give us money to hire an expert. So had he not, we're going, look, and how is that right?
It's not right.
Okay. To illustrate it, Jeremy Hutchinson is asking for our money as a senator for a legal defense fund, because he admits that, well, 98% of people, they just plead guilty because our public defender system is so bad.
Exactly.
Well, he and his father created the public defender system through legislation. Jeremy was the chair of the Judiciary Committee, and his father was a U.S. Senator. But it's not good enough for them. Okay? They want you to give them money for his legal defense fund. He got $500,000 for family health care as a lawyer while he was a senator. Okay? Think about $500,000 in a 4-year period. You know what I made last year? I wrote a check out of my savings to keep my law office open. Okay? And I'm not a bad lawyer. Okay? I procrastinate, and I don't have a good temperament. Okay? But I'm a pretty fair trial lawyer if I never get there. I don't know what he did to earn $500,000. There was one case he entered his appearance on, and guess what? He didn't show up, and the other side won $400,000 in default judgment. So he's being sued for those back. But those are the people we're asking to help us. Those are the people that have sworn to uphold the constitutions of the United States and Arkansas, and they do not do it. So, I'm going to say one more thing and tie it together, and then I'm going to shut up. Our Supreme Court here in Arkansas said you can't ever sue the state in state courts. Okay? That's where Sean's been successful. Sean sues in Superior State Court. He did in the Fogarty case. Diane Fogarty was a former Miss California that would not bow to the authority of the caseworker, and she lost her kids. That was a threat. You will succumb to my authority, you'll never see your kids. And she made pretty good on the threat. 9 years she lost custody of the kids. He sued a county organization. Orange County has what, 3 million people, right? Their counties have the same population as our state does. The county does not have sovereignty.
Exactly.
It's a municipality. So they have a remedy. When they do wrong, Sean has created an area of law where lawyers can sue and win there. And guess what? It changed the way they did business. What was the first thing they started requiring? Warrants and probable cause. That's the 9th Circuit. Thought I'd never say this, but if I had kids, I wouldn't be living in the 8th Circuit right here. Wouldn't do it. When you get married, what do? You give a circuit judge, in the event that doesn't work out, authority over all of your assets. When you have a child, you do what? You give the state authority to come in and tell you how to raise that child. The advice that I have to give people, if I'm honest, don't get married, don't have children. You live in this state or another one in the 8th Circuit. Because you have lost your rights. Unless you're living in a $500,000 or $750,000 house in a gated community somewhere, they're going to come up and get a knock on your door and you probably never see them again. Why? Because they have money to hire lawyers. They have friends in influential places. Okay? Brad Pitt, got a cocaine and alcohol problem, and there's physical violence going on in front of the kids or domestic violence. You know what? Do you think his kids are in foster care? No. Think they're going to be? No. If you don't think you're being oppressed, you're fooling yourselves. And if you think that people in this government that are supposed to protect your rights, or at least not tread all over them, if you think that they're doing that, you're fooling yourself. And now I'm going to be quiet.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's so true. I mean, I can't tell you exactly, I'd go through the exact same thing in a whole nother state, okay? A whole nother state. And, you know, I'm always looking for a new angle. I make this joke that I think they have my picture in every office of DCS in the lunchroom where they throw darts at it, you know, during lunchtime. And that they have a blast email that, oh, by the way, Connie regularly said this, so now we're going to say this, okay? You know, for instance, I went into a CFTM meeting. I was complaining because there was a conflict of interest. Because Omni Corporation runs a foster care, and they're also running the reunification program. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, we're in a meeting here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people on Omni's payroll, and you can't put your hand in both pockets. You can't be making money on kids in foster care where you're making $100, $200 a day, and then say, oh, but we're doing reunification for a $30 group session once a month. I says, we know where your loyalties are. And they're like, oh, and then the next meeting I go to, they're like, oh, first they say, well, you have to take that up with Central. Okay, so I send an email to Central. We go to the next meeting and they say, well, I understand we don't call it that anymore. Okay, so it's like Americans with Disabilities Act, and I'm going to talk some more about that. I have if you have a disability and they punish you, or they take your children away, or they don't make accommodations for you under ADA, then they are violating federal law. And I looked for our state policy on the Americans with Disabilities Act, and you know what I found? I found, well, if you're an employee and you have a disability, you can let us know. They had nothing related to parents. And when I finally sued in federal court under the ADA for a father who they took his child away because he had Asperger's and he couldn't care for his child without the help of his relatives, and they said, well, that means you're incompetent, so we're going to find a better parent for this kid.
Got one in Jonesboro happening right now like that.
Yeah. And so they finally just changed the law. Just changed the law. The kid I was talking about with Juvenile Detention Center, I was looking for when I first started the case. I mean, Joe knows this. You get involved with the case and it's got some issue in it, and you start researching right away. Who's in control of this? What are the rules? What are the minimum standards? What's the policies on it? I found out that for 17 years there had been no minimum standards for juvenile detention centers, because in 2001 they stopped doing it. The TCI, Tennessee Corrections Institution, stopped doing it. And my incident happened in 2014. I'm like, who was in control? Who's supposed to be watching? Who's overseeing? It took 2 more years, and all of a sudden DCS is creating minimum standards for juvenile courts. And I stood up in front of a circuit court judge and I said, well, at least because of this case, we got minimum standards for juveniles, and the county attorney's like, you think it's because of you. I'm like, well, why us? You went 17 years without minimum standards for juveniles. So, you know, it is like a maze of a glass house. It is like a maze of a glass house.
Hey, so we're talking about conflicts, okay? Before this gets pushed out of my mind, let me say this. The little boy in Fort Smith who was taken